Right now to another landmark deal in the United States. The Los Angeles Lakers have smashed the record sale of a US sporting franchise after the Buss family agreed to a deal valued at $10 billion with the Chelsea co-owner Mark Walter. Well, for more on this, we can speak to Mark Medina, an NBA expert who's covered the Lakers for a number of years. Mark, really good to speak to you about this. Did you ever think you would see the day when the Buss family didn't control a majority stake in the Lakers?
I didn't. I remember talking to Jeannie Buss in her office several years ago and asked that very question on if the Buss family would ever sell. And she would often say that her father worked very hard to make it to this point so that the Buss family could keep the franchise forever. Now, she said those words in 2015. There's so much that has changed since then. Philip Anschutz sold his minority shares to Mark Walter in 2021. The value of NBA franchises have skyrocketed with recent sales with the LA Clippers, the Dallas Mavericks, and the Boston Celtics. And the franchise value with the Lakers soared even more after acquiring Luka Doncic. So I think it became one of these things where it's too good to pass up because the money's very good.
It's all been agreed, but just how close is Walter to actually sealing the deal?
Oh, it's very close. I think it's all but official. It was approved by a majority vote within the Buss family. So now it's just about dotting the i's and crossing the t's.
What about the fans' perspective then? Because we've mentioned the Buss family have owned the Lakers since 1979. How has this gone down with the fans?
Well, I think there's been a lot of excitement for this because they know Mark Walters' background. As you alluded to, he has a lot of ownership stakes, including with the Chelsea soccer team, but he also has a majority owner stake with the ownership group that owns the Dodgers. And so there's a lot of Los Angeles fans who are very familiar with what he's done with the Dodgers, with being very committed to spending in the organization. And I think that they expect them to do that with the Lakers. And the one thing to keep in mind, even though the Lakers are an iconic global franchise that have won 17 championships, have a lot of star power with players like Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Shaquille O'Neal. It goes down the line. This was always a family-owned business, and this was the only source of revenue that the Buss family had. So they would spend a lot on the star players, and they cared about winning, but they're also very judicious when it came to spending with role players, coaches, front office members, staff members. And I think the expectation with Mark Walter is that he's not going to spare any expense whatsoever. So there's a lot of appreciation for the Buss family. He bought the franchise for $67.5 million in 1979, as well as the Forum, the Kings Hockey Club, and some real estate. And he's had a great track record. But I think there's even more excitement because in 2025, today's ownership groups need to be in a position to spend a lot more money.
Yeah, and not a bad profit that it seems like they're making there. I mean, $10 billion, a record deal. It means it's almost worth double the price of the Boston Celtics in March. What do you think is going to happen? Do you expect the value of these sports franchises just to keep going up and up?
Yes, I think it's inevitable that it's going to keep going up and up. Now, the Lakers, they're the most iconic franchise in all of sports. But we have to, in all of the NBA, I mean, but we have to keep in mind a few things. They did not sell the Lakers in its totality. The Buss family still has a minority share, and they also didn't sell this franchise with an arena attached. They still have a stake with that with AEG. So I would suspect that if the New York Knicks were ever sold, it would be even higher. Same thing with the Golden State Warriors. But again, the Lakers are an iconic franchise. So there's a reason why right now they're the most valued franchise in the NBA.
And we are seeing more and more American owners over here in the Premier League and in other leagues in this country. When you see these record figures for teams in the United States, do you think that they see that they're getting perhaps more value in England?
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of value overseas and domestically now. How does that compare to the NBA remains to be seen. I know that Forbes currently lists Manchester United at about 6.5 billion, Liverpool at 5 billion. The NBA media rights deal that's going to kick in next fall is now valued for 75 billion for the next 11 years. But I think the bottom line is professional sports are a profitable commodity, and that's why there's a lot of bidding for from very rich and smart owners to try to be involved.
Mark, great to speak to you. We appreciate your insight. Thank you so much for joining us.